Well, I'm excited to be joined here by the USS North Carolina Submarine Commander, Commander Matt Lewis. Thanks for being here in Raleigh, and welcome to the home state of the submarine that you serve on. Now, you joined the submarine in January, correct?
Yes, January this year.
And you came from another submarine. You were the XO, correct?
Right. My previous sea duty was USS Oklahoma City, based out of Guam.
What was the transition like from XO to Commander?
It's a one that is described by other COs. We talk about it before you take the reins as a CO, and it's really difficult to describe until you're in the seat. Everyone says when you're a commanding officer, you don't really understand until you're the person wearing the command pin and responsible. And I understood that, and I understood it academically, intellectually. And the day before the change of command, I understood the responsibility that I was going to walk into, and it wasn't until after the change of command, when they call you captain and you're announced on the ship, that you really start to feel the weight of your responsibility to the crew and the ship. And it's impressive. It doesn't stop, and it's something that's a really amazing adventure to go on.
Now, I'm sure you're excited to get I hate to call it your feet wet, but hopefully it won't be too wet because the ship has been in dry dock, has been doing maintenance overhaul. But next year you'll be going out as the commander out to sea again.
Right, right. So we are in a maintenance availability. Periodically we go through an availability that has an extended maintenance period. As you can imagine, a complex piece of machinery in a complex environment, there's maintenance repairs that we have to do. And some of that oftentimes goes beyond the expertise for the crew to handle. We have smart, talented guys that can do a lot of great things. Sometimes we need to reach out to the shipyards to do the depot level maintenance, we call it, that goes beyond their expertise. And so right now we're in one of those periods, and we're going to get modernized. We're going to get the latest and greatest fire control sonar system, some repairs done, and she's going to come back looking great and ready to go back to the fleet at the end of 2018.
It was just commissioned in 2008, so it'll be 10 years later. It's not that old of a ship, but yeah, latest and greatest changes all the time, I'm sure, for you guys.
Right.
Is that part of keeping up with that latest and greatest? You able to take the crew and go through the training while you're in dry dock right now and really keep up to date without having to be out in the ocean at the time?
Right. It is challenging. If you asked me, if I could change it tomorrow, I'd love to be at sea tomorrow with the crew, doing the things that we're supposed to do. I think the crew would echo the same sentiments. As you mentioned, we're kind of a fish out of water, so to speak, being in the dry dock. But the crew is immensely talented, and they love to do their job, and that's what they want to do. Many of them signed up to go to sea, and if they're not at sea, they're not happy. So we have lots of things that we can do. We support other ships to go on temporary duty to fill some needs of the Navy. As they go on deployment, they do operations. They have some things that we can help support them, gets our guys qualified, gets them trained, proficient. We also have some really amazing high-fidelity trainers that we use that are shore-based. And that gives us the ability, both in the engineering world and in the tactical world, to operate our machinery and our equipment and the ship just like we would as we're at sea. And so despite being in dry dock in the maintenance period, the team can really go exercise their skills, develop their skills, and maintain a high level of proficiency while we're sitting on the shore base.
And that shore base is not a hard place to have to be. Hawaii is not a horrible place to have to be. It's a long ways away from North Carolina, though. But you're here now, so talk about what it's like coming here to North Carolina and just experiencing a little bit about the home state from the ship's namesake.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd agree. Hawaii is not a bad place to be. I've been there a number of years. It's an amazing place. And our tie to the state of North Carolina is really incredible. I haven't seen it on any of my other 3 ships that I've been on, that same sort of tie to their namesake. It's amazing opportunity to come back to the state and to discuss with people what we do in the Navy, what we do in submarining, and what we do on the ship of USS North Carolina. So we've had the opportunity to talk to some local high school students. I've had 5, including myself, sailors back from our ship to the area. 3 of them were at 2 different events talking about science and technology and engineering and math to the local students, tell them how it applies to us, how we use it day in and day out. As you can imagine, we're a very technical faith-based community with submarining and the things that we have to operate, and so we can give the students some real-life experience and application to what they do and what they learn in school. Also have the opportunity to talk to the midshipmen at various ROTC units, which is amazing. The young students at NC State, University of North Carolina, and Duke is a great opportunity to let those guys, those women and men, know what sort of things they can look forward to when they show up at the fleet. Had some great questions with them of what to do, how to be a good leader, a good manager, a good officer as they come out to the fleet, and a great opportunity for my sailors to interact with them and give them some real-world experience out there.
Now, speaking of extremely high-tech and new-age technology, you're also going to be able to go and visit the North Carolina battleship as well on this trip from a long ways ago, from World War II. It's going to be interesting to see how the ships compare, I'm sure, for yourself. I've been on both, and I've seen the technology difference even from 10 years ago. It's going to be interesting to see that, but also keep the honor of the two ship names.
Right. It is an honor to have the name of USS North Carolina. The technology change between the two ships is amazing. Even from some of our older submarines to the new Virginia class is incredible of what we can do with the technology of how we control systems, how we control and employ the ship. Is really kind of mind-boggling sometimes. There's a great tie that we have with the ship, with the battleship USS North Carolina. So some of the teak decking that we have from that ship has been taken and has been repurposed on our submarine. And so in my stateroom, in the wardroom, various places in the chief's quarters, out in the area we call the con, we have the teak from the deck of the North Carolina. And so it's a great way of passing some of the tradition and history from that ship to our boat.
Talk a little bit now about some of the recognition this ship has already achieved in the 10 years or 9 years it's been at sea now with the Navy. You guys have done a lot. And I know there's some things you can't talk about because it's active military approaches, but what are some of the things you have been recognized for already?
Mm-hmm. Well, in 2010, the ship changed home ports and moved out to Hawaii. And it was actually kind of a great honor that I didn't recognize at the time. I was able to ride the ship from the Panama Canal out to Hawaii as she came out to move out there. Since then, we've done 2 Western deployments. Most recently, we earned the Navy Unit Commendation Medal for the last deployment, which is amazing. The crew did phenomenal work on the things that we go out and do in the Western Pacific. And since then, the crew has done a great job of maintaining our sailors, taking care of them, developing them. Some of the metrics that we use to kind of take the temperature of that, we've always been at the top or near top of the list for how well we take care of our sailors. So again, despite being in the shipyard at this point, we really take pride in taking care of our sailors. They're the #1 asset.
Commander Lewis, thank you for taking care of us out at sea.
All right, thanks, sir. Appreciate it.